when he gets the underhook is to bury his head here,
yes,
using the head, and then really the only thing that we wanted him doing is after he establishes the head, is bringing it down here and just dropping that arm to here, and then stepping in with a high single.
I like that, and that's definitely what we show what I've always showed heavyweights is just snag singles and stuff like that. But we always start off with using underhooks, and right when you get an underhook, you got to create movement so that they react. The moment that you get an underhook, that's why I said you got to use it. You can go for the throw by, and that creates circle motion. That makes them move. Versus when you just get the underhook, and then you're stuck here, and you're just pushing them around. And then it's so easy for kids to see what the hell you're doing when you don't use it right away. Yeah. The more you sit there with an underhook, the more you've got certain things eliminated, and your offense is limited. So, especially for heavyweights too, right when they get this, they need to be moving that guy, throwing it by. I mean, we coach hard the throw by, which is 3 feet in a row, and you tap this leg. But you want to get 3 feet in a row because you want to beat this arm. You get 3 feet in a row, and most heavyweights don't lift their leg, obviously. They just come hard to this side, guy starts to circle, and then they attack. Or then they attack here, But it's that immediate, right when it's like a go button. Right when this touches, boom, you gotta be hitting something. Yeah. You can't be hanging out there. The more you hang out there, especially with heavyweights, the more it's just gonna turn into stalemate, everybody back to the center. You've lost your advantage, And for heavyweights, getting an advantage at any point is a big deal, and you need to capitalize on that, because heavyweights are always kind of just squandering their, you know what I mean? They're out there, and you're like, use it! And then you just kind of sit there and they push the guy around with a 2-on-1. Okay, we'll go back to the mat. It's pins, or it's a 3-2 match. You know what I mean? They're not usually very interesting matches. That's because their kids, the heavyweights, aren't capitalizing on all the positions they get. Most heavyweights are generally pretty lazy. So I mean, and it's nothing against them. Like they're still like, most of them are hard workers and stuff still, but they're lazy. They're 280 pounds, and they don't expect guys to just be blast doubling them or to be moving them like they're small guys. My heavyweight on my team this year, he was a freshman, just came out of high school in Montana, and we had him wrestle. We didn't have another heavyweight, so he was our starting guy, and he was a big kid, 280 pounds, and we taught him, a lot of stuff like. Because he first started off being one of those guys that thinks shooting shots, it means you have to hit a knee. Because 2 years ago, he was a 170 pounder. Yeah. So he still wrestles like a 170 pounder. And we had to totally wipe that memory clean and start over. But the thing was, we taught him, to be sure-footed and move guys and stuff like that. Well, he wrestled the returning national champ at regionals. And he hadn't wrestled anybody that was really that skill level. And he walks in his normal heavyweight stance because no one can move a 280-pound guy usually. He walks in with his normal heavyweight stance right from the get-go. And then the returning national champ looks at him, just blasts doubles him right to his back like Baby Huey. It took him right down and pinned him in like 45 seconds. And when he walked off the mat, he was pretty upset because I don't think he's been pinned all but 1 or 2 times this year. He was good about that. And he was pretty upset, and I told him, it's because you're not moving. You can still move, and you can still be active as a heavyweight. You can still have a good stance, but you just don't need to be doing all the stupid stuff that you were doing. Like we worked with them really hard on not hitting those knees, because the moment you hit those knees, you're squatting 280 pounds already, because that's how much you weigh. Yeah. And then you also got that guy that you have to drive through, and there's some big kids out there. You had the kid that cut weight to make heavyweights. You know what I mean? That's a full-grown heavyweight, and kids need to be understanding that even lightweights too, that not hitting a knee you don't have to hit a knee for shots. If you got a shot that's there, if you got anything that's there, and you can snag it without hitting a knee, there's no need to hit a knee, you know what I mean? And fakes and stuff like that, when kids are using all these fakes and stuff, you don't have to fake, or like you don't have to shoot a shitty shot. A lot of kids, they float shots too. They'll be an open, and they'll kind of float a shot in to kind of get it tied up and stuff. The moment the kid touches his knees, smack those hands down, get a top head and go behind. You know what I mean? Or smack those hands down, guy starts to stand up, there's your shot. You know what I mean? Kids float in hand fighting, they float in open space.
Yeah.
They don't feel comfortable there. And I mean, a solid stance and solid movement is pretty much all you need. I mean, do you guys coach any left-handed stuff at all?
I do because I'm left-handed.
Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, that's been, my kids
A
get
little bit?
confused half the time. It's like,
I'm
what the hell?
left-handed too, so
Oh,
everything
yeah.
I show is from that left side.
Everything I show
Yeah.
is.
You should show them your duck.
I mean, most guys, you guys need to be working left-handed stuff, and it's not just because kids need to learn how to do left-handed stuff, but it's also for if they wrestle guys like you that do wrestle left-handed. That difference from wrestling a guy who shoots a sweep on this leg versus shooting a sweep on the front leg is going to be a lot different for a kid. You know, kids used to sprawling in and hipping in or hip slipping and stuff. When a guy shoots a sweep on this side, guy's already behind you, and you have to fight a lot differently. You know, so you guys need to be working left-handed moves because other kids need to learn how to defend left-handed moves. It's one of those things that you know, the best way to learn how to defend something in the wrestling room is to learn or to coach. You know what your kids are actually losing at. If the kid on your team is getting cradled, have him run around with a cradle and coach him on cradling and show him exactly what a cradle does and how you get that cradle and how you use it, because that's how kids learn how to defend stuff. Is they need to learn how it's offensively used.
Yeah.
The more you start coaching and broadening your stuff and show kids and get them comfortable with a lot of moves, the more they'll get comfortable. I don't have a problem getting cradled at all because I'm a great cradler and I know what guys are looking for when they cradle. The moment if a guy tries to lock up a cradle, I mean, for one, you take that hand and you put it on the other side of your head.
Mm-hmm.
Two, guy locks up a cradle, the first thing you got to do is move that lock closer to your leg. Everybody wants to run a cradle with your lock against your head because that's the best way for torque, and that's the way you get their shoulders down. When the lock's down by the legs, the lock is by your legs, so you can break the lock for one, and two, they don't have as much control over your shoulders, so it's just kind of like a leverage move, and you're getting your near fall in a collar. But for kids that float, if you float a shot at me, I mean, you gotta coach that kids when they're floating those shots, float a shot here, and you can wrestle. And the first thing that you block with is obviously your hands, but kids a lot of the time they block with their hands like this. The second line of defense is your head. The moment a guy shoots in, your head's in there too. You want to be here in this type of position, not here in this type of position.
Yeah.
Kids that float shots, they expect a guy to kind of do this type of stuff, and that opens up because they're trying to get that. Yeah, exactly. They're trying to get you to put your hands on them and give up your good position. That's why they float those shots. They float in, so then they got here exactly, and they're looking for you to use that.
Yeah.
So you can pop or rip, use a drag, any sort of stuff that you can use off of that. But they're trying to get you to make a mistake and reach it. So I mean that's a big thing with that. I also like doing when a guy. Sometimes guys will float shots here, and they'll kind of do a little floating shot. Just a simple. What do you guys call it? Shuck? Do you guys call it
Slide by.
Slide by. Okay.
Yeah.
Simple slide by, simple shuck. That's the type of stuff that I like to hit from there because guys will start to. And you can also disguise your shuck by a lot of guys being here. You bounce them real hard, and when guys are coming up, that's when you hit that move because they're coming up and they're clinched real hard. The moment you bounce them, it's there. Guys have a big issue of not hitting a move right when it's there. They'll sit here and they'll be like, all right, and hit the shuck in 3, 2, 1. Oh, there we go. But most guys have issues with not hitting a move right when it's there. And kids need to get better at right when they feel a move, hit that move. You know what I mean? And yes, I understand like maybe you need to set it up real quick. That still takes a split second. You don't need to be sitting there for 10 seconds, you know, hanging on a guy's head.
Yeah.
You know? Kids have a big issue with that. And it goes, that's lightweights to heavyweights. Everybody has an issue with that. So that's something that, you know, everybody as a coach I think struggles with, you know. I mean, even in the college level we struggle with that as kids. Waiting, and waiting.
That's what I try to instill in my kids. Don't hesitate.
Yeah.
Especially in the practice room, don't hesitate.
Yeah, and that's great. Do you guys ever do like anything called, we call it like a flow match, where basically you guys
Sparring.
yeah,
Yeah.
constant movement.
Constant.
Yeah, and I think that's the best because you were talking about how Kale kind of runs practices where he has a lot of play wrestling and stuff like that, and it helps kids get adapted to doing moves that they aren't usually doing and stuff like that. And I think that type of, or the flow match or the sparring or whatever you guys want to call it, I think that helps out a lot with that, because kids start getting into the habit of just doing moves. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily have to be the move that gets you out or gets the takedown or gets a turn, but just continually doing moves is better than sitting there and waiting. And it also helps their conditioning a lot. You ever notice how kids, when you get done with that and you're hustling them and you're working them real hard, kids, when they get done with that, they're breathing hard and they're really, sweating good and stuff like that. We always do that as a good warm up. We call it can of worms, or we call it flow matches. Whatever it is that you want. But kids, they need to get better at that transitional movement and that transitional wrestling. And that does come with, there's going to be a lot of kids, especially in the high school and in the junior high. There's going to be a lot of kids that don't necessarily have all the technique and all the skills there, so they're going to look really raw when they're doing it. You know what I mean? And you can obviously kind of help them out, this is what you do in that, or this is what I recommend you do in these types of positions and stuff like that, for just individual little things. But for the overall, it helps them a lot, especially those really raw kids. It helps them get used to just wrestling, and it helps them get that foot movement down, that flow down, because drilling is so choppy. And especially for high school, I'm sure, and junior high, you guys coach a lot where you shoot a move and you take them down, and that's that. You know what I mean? You get back up, and then it's the other guy's turn. Maybe you go 2 and 2, But very rarely do they have a full 2 minutes where they take a guy down, they wrestle, and it's not 100%. They're not obviously trying to kill each other and rip each other's joints out, but it's helping them just react and build a better repertoire. You know what I mean? Of moves to hit, and how to feel when to hit a move, because they're not dumb. If they're scrambling around and they do something that didn't feel right, they'll come back, or they'll know that didn't work in that position, and they'll adapt and they'll learn from it.
I think that's our biggest thing. I know I stress my kids. Coach yourself in there. And wrestle out. I mean, that's
especially in practice. The kids in practice have so much pride. They don't want to be losing takedowns. They don't want to be getting put to their back. They don't want somebody to feel like that someone else had the advantage over them. The practice room is not the place to have the pride or have all of that.
You know, that's what we try to get them to instill to lose that. Don't be afraid to. No one's counting here how many times you're on your back or and you use that.
No, not today.
So,
Hey,
the drills for you. Try and
give me that. Give me the phone.
Session. So you start off and then you start drilling this, and then you drill this, and you guys
could have stayed with
stamps. Drill this, circle down, and it's good. You know what I mean? And it's a move succession. Kids are really going to start catching on for you with, and that's what's really going to help you out. Move succession. If you guys can start coaching move succession, you do something right away, and then based on whatever the reaction is, you do the next move. And that's what's really going to, chain wrestling. And that's going to be a big changer for you guys.
Thanks, Tyler.
Thank you.
What's up,